Hello, everybody. Welcome to Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present. We have a great story for you today, part 2, with Mr. Dick Gammick, who was our Washoe County District Attorney. Stay tuned. We'll tell you all about it right after this break.
Hi there. I'm Hugh Roy Marshall of the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada. I'm proud to announce that our 7-ingot set honoring the V&T Railroad is now finished.
That's right, Roy. These beautiful 999 silver ingots celebrate the engines from the world-famous V&T Railroad and honor Nevada's sesquicentennial. These limited edition treasures can be purchased only at the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada.
Or visit us at marshallmint.com to get yours today.
Get the Charter Spectrum Triple Play. It's more than meets the eye. With over 200 free HD channels available, it's the most HD you can get. Instant access to over 10,000 on-demand movies and shows. Plus the Charter app for live TV that jumps to mobile devices in any room. All that for $29.99 a month. Switch to Charter Spectrum Internet, faster than the speed of WoW. Take off with 60 megs of speed, bandwidth that lets multi-people multitask, stream movies, play games, watch videos, and share vines all at once. No slowdowns. Shazam! For only $29.99 a month. Just call 877-959-1634. Then pick up Charter Spectrum Voice for unlimited local and long-distance calling. And catch this. No drop calls. Stuck in a contract? Charter pays up to $500 to get you out. Charter Spectrum TV, Internet, and Voice, $29.99 a month each. Call 877-959-1634. See for yourself. Call Charter today.
Spring arrives at Boutique Elegante. The fabulous colors of spring, all in denim fabrics, but with accents on color, color, color. Of course, sweaters are a must. The newest color block in soft weaves. Influenced by the rainbow, beautiful little dresses, gaucho sets, the blending of fabrics to create caprice sets. Exquisite fashions for your tropical holiday, a special dinner, or the opera. You'll find all of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
Welcome to Old Tales of Nevada, Past and Present. I'm John O'Brien, the host of the show. And normally, we also have with us Hugh Roy Marshall, but he's out of town this week. So with me again this week is Mr. Dick Gammick, who is the Washoe County District Attorney for many, many years, actually 20 years. We learned last week. This is part 2 of our show with him, and we want to welcome Dick back to the show for more information. We couldn't get it all in the first show. We talked about some history in the district attorney's office and his career there, and we wanted to take it from there into what's happening today and what's going to be the future of law enforcement here in Washoe County. So, Dick, welcome to the show again.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, glad to have you with us. You know, we always talk about Hugh Roy Marshall and what he's doing up at the Comstock. We want to remind people that he has the Silverland Inn and Suites up there, as well as the Marshall Mint, where you can get that 7-piece ingot set with all these locomotives from the V&T Railroad. V&T Railroad was, absolutely
big deal,
vital for the success of the Comstock, and he's got those all put into a 7-piece set that you can purchase up there. So we want to remind people about that. It's up there in Virginia City. Beautiful weather to go up the hill and check it out and take advantage of the history up there and all the amenities up there in Virginia City. But we want to welcome you back again, Dick. We, like we said, didn't get a chance to get into a lot of things that you were involved with as district attorney. We know about the criminal side, but what's interesting to me, I find you to be a real innovator here in Washoe County for the good of the community, which is part of our mission here on the show, because we like to talk to people who do good things for the county and good things for individuals, and it brings us pride to have people like you part of our community. But you really were an innovator, and you still are actually an innovator here for us here in Nevada, especially with the way you organized the law enforcement community, so we can get things done in a more efficient manner, cost-effective manner, and to have better results. And last week, as we ended the show, if you recall, Dick, we were talking about that building downtown, right? And you were saying that was quite a process. Actually, how long did it take you to start talking about that building. Where is it located now? Court and Virginia?
Sierra.
Court and Sierra. That's a beautiful building. It's got the wings on it and everything. I don't know who the architect was, but that was the end result of a long process, right? And it's kind of an interesting story, actually. And I wanted to get that from you in more detail today because I think it shows the innovation that you have in yourself, your vision for this law enforcement community that you were able to put together.
Well, after we opened that building, just a quick side story. I was talking to some of the judges, wanted to name it for Mr. Raggio, Senator Raggio. And I said, come on, he's got his name plastered all over this state on buildings and everything else. I said, I got another idea. And they didn't really want to talk to me, so I said, fine. Ran into Mayor Cashel, and I said, I understand you got a joint meeting with the county coming up this week. And he says, yes. And I said, well, I'd like to approach you, and I'd like to do something. And he said, okay, fine, I'll call you up. So I started up he called me. I started up toward the dais with both of the boards on it. And he looked at me and he says, we're not naming that new building after you. So I just turned around and walked off. And then I turned around and came back and I said, I have a suggestion to make to this board. I would like to see that new building named for Millsby Lane. And they all looked at each other and they said, what an idea.
Yeah.
And, you know, I went into his history, the fact he'd been the DA and world-renowned referee in the whole bit.
Sure.
And they went with it. So it's the Millsby Lane Justice Center.
Yeah, beautiful.
And Mills used to sit, that was after he had his stroke, unfortunately. And his home is in the southwest part of Reno up on the hills. And he used to be able to sit there and watch him build that building while he was home recuperating.
How about that, huh?
Yeah,
that must have been good for him. Yeah, yeah. But the whole process of getting that building there, it wasn't an easy one for you, was it? Because people were spread out all over the place, and I guess status quo was considered okay, but it wasn't okay for you.
When I took over as the DA in '95, we were in 3 different buildings. We were in the courthouse downtown with the main part of our building and the criminal division, but I had the civil division, investigators, and other different things going on that were scattered all over downtown area.
Wow.
This isn't working.
Yeah.
We need to get something going here. So 12 years later, we finally opened up the Millsby Lane Justice Center. It took 12 years to do it.
12 years.
We brought in a consultant from Florida who does this very thing. He does courthouses, he does courts, he does this kind of thing. We brought him in. Dan Wiley, same name as one of my nephews.
Yeah.
In fact, one time I thought I was calling my nephew and I was actually calling Dan because they both lived in Florida.
Okay.
But anyway, Dan came in. He helped us out a lot. Another individual named David Bennett, who's a consultant in the whole criminal justice system, who we used here for a lot of years. He helped us a lot. Cool. And we looked at what's the modern stuff, what's the new stuff. Here's what we need to do. Here's the way I envision this.
Yeah.
Hands-on. I was over there every day they were building that place.
Yeah, wonderful.
And hands-on, seeing what was going on, making changes when we needed to.
Yeah.
And we finally opened up that 8-story building.
But the history of the process is pretty interesting because it involved what we used to call the Pioneer Casino property, which was located where?
Well, that was right catty corner from where we were talking about what used to be a bank building sitting there on that corner.
Where the new building
of
is.
Court and Sierra.
Okay.
Yes. And then next door to it was the 3-story justice court that had been built. In fact, that was actually finished up in '95 when I took office.
Okay.
Is when they finished that, 95, 96, right in that time frame. So next to it was a bank building.
Okay.
And the county got hold of that. So we had part of our office in that building too.
Okay.
And then, of course, across the street there was the Pioneer, and they took up about 3/4 of that block.
Yeah, I remember it
block.
almost. Yeah, huge piece of property there.
We as the county, we were looking at, we've got to do something here. The courts are crowded, we're crowded, everybody's crowded, we're in different buildings, we got to do something. So we were offered some land up on Parr Boulevard after they built the sheriff's department up there. And the city came to us and said, please don't leave downtown. We've got all these attorneys' offices, we've got all you guys, we've got a lot of stuff going on down there. You'll kill us in this area.
Yeah, actually, that was good thinking because it would have killed it. Yeah, absolutely.
It would have. And the commission said, okay, we'll stay downtown, but we got to do something. On a whim, I just called Don Carano and Jerry Poncia were the owners of the
Pioneer.
Thanks. I just lost it. We're owners of the Pioneer. And on a whim, I just called them and said, hey, can I sit down and talk with you guys? I asked them if negotiations were started or an offer was made, would you be willing to talk about it? I can't make any decisions. I'm just the district attorney. This is going to be the board's going to have to do this. they said, yeah, we'll talk about
They
it.
were ready to get out of that property, huh? I guess it was kind of, I remember it as being kind of run down ever since I was in town, which started in '86.
We described those kind of buildings quaint.
Quaint, okay. Not run down, quaint.
Yeah, because they handle a lot of locals visit
Okay.
those kind of establishments,
I would
and
imagine.
the management takes care of locals. So Pioneer did a lot of its business with local people.
Sure. Well, yeah, and it was right there in the core. I mean, the Riverside was there, and the Mapes was operating for part of the time the Pioneer was open, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but by that time the Mapes was gone.
Yeah.
And the Riverside had
Riverside.
been turned into the artist lofts.
Which was a good use,
So
definitely.
that's about the only direction we could go,
Yeah.
because we had the Golden Turtle across the street,
Right.
and we had things the other direction that there wasn't much room for us to do much.
Right.
So we went, and they did talk to them. Ultimately, the county did purchase that property, and then there were plans drawn up for us as the DA's office, for the courts, a big court complex on that property.
Okay.
And
Keeping the existing building or tearing it down and starting new?
well, that was all being debated at that time.
Oh, okay.
Which way would we go? Which way's more physically sound?
Right.
And I think the decision was made on the one building. The building that was right on the corner is the one they were looking at for us to actually tear it down and build it. Would be more money wise.
Okay. So why did they choose the location they have now? How did that get chosen over the one on Virginia Street?
Well, an attorney in town, in fact, Chuck Weller, who's now a judge, approached the commission and said, I have better ideas, I have other ideas. And he got a little committee together, and the commission adopted their committee, and they came up with the idea of tearing down the bank building and building our building on that property.
Why there then, Pioneer, where the Pioneer property was? It seems like the Pioneer property gave you more space for one thing.
They did. His whole push was, well, now we can join up and partner up with the city of Reno in their municipal courts, and then both entities can build this one building, and it'll be a lot more efficient, and you can spread out the costs and everything.
And of course, you were in harmony with that, right?
Well, I said that's what we need to do, is share a building with the Reno Municipal Court, who we have absolutely nothing to do with. Zero. We don't have any relationship with them at all.
Yeah.
Well, as it turned out, the commission body's idea, and that's what we wound up doing.
Okay.
The city got the first 2 floors and part of the third. We took the rest of the third and 4 through 8.
Okay. So,
And it's worked out real well for us because we put the entire office in that one building.
okay. But you really don't have anything to do with the municipal courts, right?
No. That's not our, that's
Well,
not
so
our
where do you
thing.
go to court? I mean, as a district, you got to go to district court, I guess, right?
Well, we have
Is that
the-
where you start?
The justice courts, they connected the 2 buildings, so that the shorter 3-story building right on the river, the justice courts are now connected to that building. We go to justice courts for all of our more minor stuff, and then we go to the district courts, and we've got, when you start figuring the Supreme Court and federal courts, and we got a lot of courts.
A lot of courts, a lot of judges. How many judges do they have in our complex here? Do you know how many?
There's 15 district court judges, and then in Reno Justice Court we have 6.
Wow.
So that's 21. Then we have 2, and pretty well 3, because they see another judge there a lot of the time. Down in Sparks Justice Court, that's just the local courts that we go to. Then,
Amazing.
like I said, we've got Supreme Court and all the federal courts we deal with.
Yeah. So are we overstaffed or understaffed as far as judges go?
Courts are pretty busy. So
Are they? Yeah.
it's,
A lot of crime happening here, huh?
well, not only crime, but you get all the civil cases and you
Yeah.
get all the other stuff going on. We don't want to get in the same position that Las Vegas is in.
Yeah, so we see the need for these buildings and to have it organized properly to get things done. Anyway, back after this break with more Old Tales in Nevada. We're going to talk about some more of these innovations that Dick has brought to our county for the benefit of our community right after we hear from a couple of our sponsors. If you're a fan of Old Tales in Nevada, past and present, we are proud to announce that now you can purchase any of our past episodes on our new website, talesofnevada.com. That's right, these stories of our great Nevada history are now available to you on DVD. Over 180 individual episodes featuring the people, places, and stories that have made us all so proud to live in this great state. So get yours today, a piece of Nevada history. Visit talesofnevada.com.
At Harry's Quality Cars, the 500 vehicles in stock speak for themselves.
Most of us have one owner car fax reports.
We all have warranties. I have very low mileage.
I'm the prettiest car in stock.
I'm muscle-bound and ready for the hills.
Harry's Quality Cars, local and family-owned for over 40 years on Kitski and Gentry and on South Virginia Street. Harry's cars really do speak for themselves.
Drive one of us home today!
Shoeman's Custom Cycle with a biker's bike shop. From the new set of pipes to custom renovation, building ultimate machines is our reputation. Feel the performance, experience the power. From chrome to leather, the selection doesn't quit. If it wasn't done to Shoeman's, it ain't. Shoeman's Custom Cycle with a biker's bike shop.
We've invested billions to bring you the most advanced network in the nation, Charter Spectrum. Get the most HD anywhere with Charter Spectrum TV. Over 200 high-def channels available, 10,000 instant on-demand choices, and the Charter app to watch live TV anywhere at home on your mobile devices. Just $29.99 a month. Call 866-517-6150 now. Charter Spectrum Internet accelerates you to incredible speeds. 60 megabits per second, 20 times faster than phone company DSL. Just $29.99 a month. And Charter Spectrum Voice delivers unlimited calling with none of the phone company's extra fees or taxes. Just $29.99 a month. Charter Spectrum. More free HD, faster internet, unlimited calling, and no contract to sign. Just $29.99 a month each. Call 866-517-6150 now. Charter Spectrum is here.
Welcome back to Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. We're talking with the former Washoe County District Attorney, Dick Gammick, and we've actually had him on one show prior to this, and this is our second segment with Dick. And the reason we brought him back is, as we talked about in our first segment, he's an innovator. And first thing he did as district attorney was to bring all his forces together under one roof. Wasn't an easy task. It's never easy when you're working with the government, is it, and get all these different individuals together, like you're talking about Mr. Weller and his ideas. I suppose he's not the only one that had ideas about what you do with the offices and the buildings downtown, right?
Well, you run into a lot of things, and that's mainly, I guess you could compare it to doing an orchestra. You got to keep all the pieces playing at once, and if you miss one, that one will slap you.
Yeah.
And I had one person tell me one time, your job's a lot like trying to handle an octopus, isn't it? Yeah, basically. Really? You get 7 of the tentacles wrapped up, and the 8th one will slap you in the back of the head.
It takes special skills to accomplish that. Not everybody can go into a situation like that and be successful. You have a lot of enemies, sometimes more enemies, and get less done than you would want. But evidently you were able to traverse through that minefield and make it happen. So congratulations on that.
Well, there's another factor to the formula for this too, and that's having an outstanding staff and a lot of good people helping you.
Yeah, for sure.
But if you don't have that, you just sit there spinning your own little wheels.
Got to have the team.
Good staff. I would ask questions, I would make suggestions, and then they'd come back with how and other ideas and stuff, and we put it all together, and it worked.
Yeah. Well, one thing I noticed about you, just from what I was able to observe, is that you had the community behind you. They appreciated your straightforward, non-political type of approach, and maybe it ruffled a few feathers, but at least they knew where you stood all the time on different issues, right?
Well, I got a basic philosophy. You can't make everybody happy.
No.
So I just stay with what I know is the truth, and I say what I know, because a lot of times perceptions rule. It doesn't make any difference what the facts are. Perceptions rule.
Right, exactly.
And so I just tried to stay just as honest and even as I possibly could and treat everybody the same.
Yeah.
I can't think of a single time we ever gave anybody a special break or took care of people.
Yeah.
We help people. We help everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think when you're honest with people, and even though you might be a little rough around the edges, I think we could describe you that way sometimes, but your motive was always pure. And I think people saw that, and then because of that, were able to back you in your different efforts. And I want to get into some of these efforts that were just fabulous for people here in the community. And again, it involves innovation on your part, because for communities of our size, it probably was not seen in communities like this. But you saw a vision and you saw a need, and you went out and did it. And that had to do with victim services, right?
Yes.
Tell us what the situation was before you came on board, as far as victims were concerned.
Well, even when I was prosecuting for the 10 years as a deputy and a chief deputy, I handled a lot of major cases. And victims, the only thing we would basically do with them is tell them when and where they were supposed to be, and then question them, and then we take them into court, put them on the stand, and away we'd go.
Yeah.
And then we kind of left it to them to take care of finding any help or anything else. It just was not a good system.
Right.
The lady I'd like to mention, Lydia Osmeti, was in charge at that time of the Victim Witness Assistance Center, and she had all that to run. But whenever I had a major case where I had victims that needed help, she would come and act as a victim advocate. So she filled both roles. But that wasn't satisfactory either, because we could only handle a few cases that way, because she had a big job as it was.
Sure.
So I came back in as district attorney after I was elected. We said, no, we're going to do something here. So we went and got the funding from the county, and we started building a program with 4 actual victim advocates.
Great.
Degrees, college degrees, experience, the whole bit on dealing with victims, and people with empathy, people who could deal with people that were hurting, and at the same time stay professional and not get buried in it.
Right.
And when I left the office, we had 4 victim advocates that were been with us for a lot of years, truly outstanding people. And what the victim advocate does is we get cases that we have direct victims, primarily violence cases, cases, rapes, beatings, murder cases, those kinds of things.
Right.
And when we'd receive the case and assign a deputy to it and assign an investigator, we would also assign a victim advocate. And that victim advocate had several roles. Victim advocate would work as liaison between the attorney and the victims.
I would imagine that was vital, because the people needed to know what was going on with their case on a regular basis, right?
And they were more accessible than our attorneys, because our attorneys were handling a lot of cases, and they'd be in court and everywhere else.
Right.
They could go to the victim advocate and get some help.
Super.
They knew this whole area. They knew what programs were available for victims, where they could go for help, where they could get special things. You're talking about clothing, diapers. I mean, you're talking about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
They knew where to go with them, psychological help, any of that.
Yeah.
So they would do that. They'd help the victims there. They would help the victims find family members if that's what they needed to do. They would help them on their transportation. They just really took them by the hand and helped them out, whatever they needed to do.
Yeah.
Even to the point, if they needed to go to court, hold their hand and give them a handkerchief, they would do that too.
Boy, that takes a special kind of person to be able to do that.
And still keep professional and keep away from it.
And I would imagine sometimes with victims, they may not be the victim, might be a relative of a victim, maybe a family head, for example, who was a breadwinner, is a victim of crime. And maybe they're not able to support the family anymore. Was there also help to get them financial aid so that they could survive as a family?
We had laws that would require us to do financial help on certain instances. In other words, if a person was a subject of a sexual assault, wound up in the hospital, then we pick up all the medical bills under the law. So we had that in our budget. But the other thing we did is we had I remember when I was a prosecutor, we had all these bad check cases come in. Well, I'll be frankly honest about it. It was not our highest priority. And I'd have a stack of bad check cases this almost over my desk, sitting in the floor waiting for me to get to them, the time to get to them.
Yeah.
And so we got to look at something's got to happen here.
Yeah.
So we started a bad check deferment program. And we set up a list of criteria. If people met that criteria, in other words, they don't write bad checks all the time, they're not professionals at it, that kind of stuff, they just ran out of money, bad management, whatever reasons, they were writing bad checks, then we would defer them into the bad check program.
Okay.
They have to go to school and learn how to write checks legally, and how to manage their checking account.
Yeah, that's a chore.
They would have to pay back the amount of money that they owed. If it was a $500 check, if John took a $500 check and brought it to us, you would get back $500 if we collected it.
I like that.
We wouldn't take a penny.
Oh, wow.
And we did that. We did checks. I did checks while I was in there, $27,000, $35,000. Did some big checks. And we handled them that way. And then we would take and we could take the person who wrote the check and have them pay additional fees. That went into a victims fund.
Okay.
So we had that money available to give out to victims, to help victims, to do what we could, and we put a lot of that into kids. I think during my tenure as DA there, we put out about $750,000, if I remember right. We put out a lot of money that came from, I just said, crooks paying for programs.
Yeah. That makes it
a lot of that.
Make the victim whole again. That's a fantastic thing. Yeah.
Then we took another thing with that money, and we went to crisis call, and they have people who go out on major crimes and see what they could do to help. Well, I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. You set up a voucher program. We'll pay for it. Mm-hmm. I want you to have vouchers for everything but booze or alcohol or tobacco products. Mm-hmm. Everything but. Mm-hmm. So we were doing diapers. We were changing locks on houses. We were replacing windows. We were getting gas for the cars. We were taking care of the pets. We were doing a lot with these voucher systems.
Super.
On money in order to help victims out immediately. Before the other parts of the system.
Yeah, and that's so important. It takes some of the pain away, some of the anxiety away. Because how long some of these cases go on? They can go on for months and months, if not years, right?
We're pretty quick here, everything considered. We get most of our murder cases into trial within a year.
That's unusual, right?
Pretty well within 2 years. California, you're talking 5 to 6 years.
5 to 6 years, and here's the poor victim or relatives of a victim having to deal with that kind of thing for so long. That'd be terrible. Now, with all these extra added services, which are definitely needed and appreciated by all, where did you put them all? Again, this call for you to call to arms again, didn't you? And go out and find funding and everything else and find places to put these people to service the community? Well,
we had another prong of this whole thing, sexual assault victims. They were taken, the police would respond, they would take them to the local emergency rooms. I had one emergency room, he was head of the emergency room for Washoe-Med at that time. He used to call me all the time, just really banging on me. I said, give me some ideas. What can we do here?
Yeah.
Because they're not trained in the emergency rooms to do sexual assault protocols.
Right.
They don't have the equipment. And they're in there saving lives and trying to bring, so sexual assault victims would wind up in an emergency room, any of them in the community, not just Washoe-Med. They'd wind up in an emergency room, and they'd sit there for a day, the whole day. If it was a busy day,
it's bad enough.
Some of them never get looked at. They'd leave. So we said, this isn't doing it. So we got to do something here.
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of people together from all the police agencies, from everybody involved in this stuff, and we broke them up, and we sent teams out all over the country, and we went to all these bigger cities that had programs.
Yeah.
What do you have? What are you doing? We went to San Diego. We had people go to Seattle. We had people go to Denver. We had people go to Salt Lake City. Mm-hmm. And in case you're not catching a trend here, all these cities are a heck of a lot bigger than
Reno. A lot more funding there.
They had money. They had some great programs. San Diego had a prison that was real close that made things for the victims and the kids. I mean, it just really. So we're looking at all this, going, okay, how are we going to do this? Mm-hmm. We decided Northern Nevada Medical Center stepped up and says, we have a room here, we can do exams there, we can help you out. Outstanding. Jim Pagels, who was the CEO at that time, stepped up and said, Dick, this is what we'll do for you. Outstanding. Thank you. So we went up there, and it was crowded, but we had a place we could work out of.
Yeah.
Then we kept looking, and finally Senator Ensign came up with $1 million grant for us, a HUD grant. And I said, okay.
There you go.
So then we knew we needed more. So we went to the local foundations they were great to me my whole time in there.
Yeah, they were funding you all the time. That's fantastic. Can I take a break here? So that we can...
give me a sign or something.
Don't worry about it. You're doing great. And we want to finish the story. So back with more of Dick Gammick and some of his great innovations for the Reno, Northern Nevada communities right after we hear from this sponsor here on Old Tales Nevada, past and present.
Spring arrives at Boutique Elegante. The fabulous colors of spring, all in denim fabrics, but with accents on color, color, color. Of course, sweaters are a must. The newest color block in soft weaves. Influenced by the rainbow, beautiful little dresses, gaucho sets, the blending of fabrics to create caprice sets. Exquisite fashions for your tropical holiday, a special dinner, or the opera. You'll find all of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
Deluxe Travel has been serving the Northern Nevada business and leisure traveler for over 30 years. Make 2014 the year Deluxe Travel meets your travel needs. Don't be fooled that you can find better deals on internet travel sites. Deluxe Travel will always get the best prices and provide the personal service you deserve. Let Deluxe Travel send you on your travel destinations today. Deluxe Travel, the official travel agency for Old Tales in Nevada and most Reno businesses. Have a great trip.
At Harry's Quality Cars, the 500 vehicles in stock speak for themselves.
Most of us have one owner car fax reports.
We all have warranties. I have very low mileage.
I'm the prettiest car in stock.
I'm muscle-bound and ready for the hills.
Harry's Quality Cars, local and family owned for over 40 years on Kitski and Gentry and on South Virginia Street. Harry's cars really do speak for themselves.
Drive one of us home today!
Fun, fashionable furs. Epitome of glamour for decades. Designer lines for women and men. Only the best will do. William Furs is the ultimate shopping experience for Reno with furs, accessories, and great gift ideas. Winter is here. Enjoy savings of 20 to 50% off. Treat yourself or your loved ones and choose from thousands of pieces in our beautiful new inventory. William Furs, a full-service fur salon since 1977.
Welcome back to Old Tales in Nevada, past and present. I'm John O'Brien, the host of the show, just to remind everybody. And with me is my special guest, Dick Gammick, who was the former Washoe County District Attorney and retired when? January
5th,
yeah,
2015.
How about that?
4 months ago.
So you're enjoying retirement.
Making the transition into retirement.
And I would imagine, and we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, your involvement with some of these community clubs and organizations has really been an asset for some of these clubs, because your same visions and your drive and your determination, if you brought it to some of these community clubs and organizations, it's going to make it nothing but better, is what I see. So I'm sure they appreciate you being retired and able to spend more time over there.
Before we jump into those two hard, can we just...
I want to finish up the story. Yeah. Let's get back to the victim services, because we got into, you were over there. Was it Renown gave you the space?
Northern Nevada Medical Center.
Northern Nevada Medical Center. So, in fact, they built the building, right?
Well,
with your funding?
We did that. They gave us an acre of ground out there right next door to them. Mm-hmm. And some of it was vertical, but we got enough room to do what we needed to do.
Yeah.
I went to the local foundations. They came up with $700,000 on top of the $1 million I already had, and we built the Sart Cares building. Then we named it for Jim Pagels, because he was unfortunately killed in a car wreck.
Oh, sad.
And so we named it for him. We dedicated it, and that contained the SART, which is a sexual assault response team. That's the adult side of the house. Mm-hmm. That's 13 and over.
Okay.
And then the CARES, which is child assault response and evaluations, and that's 12 and below.
Okay.
And we put both programs in there. The building was built specifically for that, with interview rooms, exam rooms, offices, the whole 9 yards, even a little kitchen so we could feed people when they came in.
Yeah.
And it really took off well.
Sure.
That was not the end, though. That was a stopgap. We knew we wanted to go bigger.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, Nicole Hicks, who was one of the attorneys in the office, went to a program about sexual assault, came back, and she was just flying. We need to do this. Here's this program. Here's that program. Here's all the stuff that goes on. I kind of let her go ahead and run her steam out.
Yeah.
I reached down, I picked up a bunch of stuff, and I said, this is where we started 12 years ago.
Yeah, right.
If you got the time and the energy to help me get this going. She says, I absolutely do.
Fantastic.
So I called the county, and I said, okay, I need a big building.
Yeah.
There was a building that had been built and set up for a program that never really got off the ground, about 18,000 square feet. So it was a pretty good sized building.
Good.
And it was available. There was about 10 people working in it from juvenile services and stuff. So I got to putting it all together, and I got with all the police agencies, and we started doing brainstorming and what do you want to see and what do you want to see, and we went through all that. And then I got talking to the county, and I got talking to juvenile services, and I said, I'll tell you what I'd like to do. I'd like to take this big building, make what we want to make out of it, and I'll give you the Pagels building next to Northern Nevada, and you can move your operations up there.
Oh, okay.
It was quite a bit smaller building.
Sure.
And so we went in, we moved the SART and CARES program into that building. Again, I went back to the foundations. They came up with a bunch of money for us. We were able to remodel the building, set it up the way we needed it set up. Mm-hmm. We brought in Washoe County Social Services, moved a big team over there because they deal with these folks all the time.
Sure.
We had, they also brought in some nurses who were trained in child abuse other than sexual abuse. Mm-hmm. So we put that program, we started that one over there where we could take kids that have been beat up to go in there and get their exams and collect the evidence and everything. Mm-hmm. We set the thing is absolutely beautiful. It's a lot of flowers, a lot of colors, it's a kids building.
Yeah,
it's not a government building that scares them when they go in. This is a kids building.
It makes them feel comfortable, keeps their dignity, especially in rape cases. I would imagine this is so important as to maintain their privacy and their dignity and take care of them as quickly as possible, correct? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And that's what we were doing. We wanted a kids atmosphere. And for adults, too, that have been victims of this stuff.
Right.
It's all I let the ladies just go. I'm not an interior decorator, and I didn't begin to say. So I told the ladies, you guys get your heads together, figure out what you want for colors, lighting, what we want to do for murals, what we want to do for all this stuff. And they came up with just a beautiful building, beautiful place. Moved attorney full-time into the building. We have our medical staff, which now consists of 2 doctors who are in the pediatrics world, in the kid world.
Wow.
Both of them are certified as child abuse experts,
Super.
Which there's very few in the country that are certified. We have 2 of them here. We have Dr. Davis on our SART program, who started with us day one up in Northern Nevada. He's still with us.
Yeah.
So that's great. We've got nurses. Denver, Colorado is pretty well a hub for training these folks for this particular area.
Yeah.
So we even brought their program out here a few times to train not only the nurses, but to train the detectives, the officers, our prosecutors. And so we did that here. And now we've got a pretty doggone good program going over there.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. And how many communities of our size can even brag about something like that? It just doesn't happen because you don't have the funding mechanisms that we are able to tap into here.
Yeah. Or personnel.
Or personnel either, yeah.
We handle all of Northern Nevada, Northeast California, and then anybody else that comes wandering in the door that needs help.
Yeah. So we truly do deserve that name, the biggest little city, right? In many, many ways, we prove that true every day, don't we?
Yes.
So a fantastic program. So let's move away from that because that's just going to continue and get better and better. I'm sure the person that succeeded you, the new district attorney, is very much behind that same kind of program.
He was in the office for 10 years. He had 2 years in Carson City, and he was there for a lot of this stuff, and he's very, very supportive of it, and I think Chris will continue to march.
Right. Well, those are rather serious situations you're having to deal with there as district attorney, but you do a lot of fun things, too, on the social side of life, but it's still helping the community in many ways. I know some of the organizations you belong to that are fabulous for us is the Reno Rodeo Association. The Boys and Girls Club is another one that you're involved with. And I hear a lot of good things about the Boys and Girls Clubs here in Northern Nevada, especially the one here in Reno. And that was an organization. How old an organization is that here in Reno? Do you know? That's probably a hard question to answer, but
I know it's been within lifetimes because there's people still alive today who helped put this together, and it was originally the Boys Club.
Okay.
It was over by the airport.
Oh,
and these guys, I tell you what, they had vision that won't quit because they had to go take out personal loans to open this club.
Really?
And that's the way it got started. And then it became the Boys and Girls Club. It made a move, and now the main club is over there on East 9th Street. We just opened the Pennington Club, which are the 2 clubs we own.
Okay.
The 2 buildings, and they're both big, huge clubs.
Okay.
But what does it, I think, more than anything else is the people that, since I've been in it 19 years now, and the people that have been the directors of it, like the executive director, now they call them the chief professional officer, CPO.
Everybody's got
those folks have been phenomenal. The staff they've built has been phenomenal, and then the board is just go.
Who are some of the people on the board? Can you mention?
Oh, Vicki Luce is one. I think she's the oldest member on the board now. Bob Capurro was around for a long time. Jim Keller, realtor, he's been in there for a long time. We've got a lot of the younger, newer folks that come on board. That's brought a lot of new, fresh blood to it.
Yeah. Who was the original founder of the club here in town?
I don't.
Do you know?
There was a group of guys together. Berviglio family.
Oh, okay. Western Nevada.
Western Nevada Supply has had a huge input into this.
Sure.
In fact, our biggest fundraiser every year, the Cipino Feed, is named for Jack Verviglio.
Oh, wow.
Rick Verviglio, his son, has taken over the reins.
Great.
We've had a lot of work out of Jack's brother. Did a lot of stuff. He's down in Yerington now with a dairy farm.
Now, what do they do in the Boys and Girls Club? I never belonged to it, but I heard it was, boxing and things like that, a gym. Is that true, or what else? What happens inside the Boys and Girls Club?
Our emphasis is on their education and them getting their homework done and doing well in school. That's our main emphasis.
Okay, so
when they come into the club, they got to do their homework before they get anything else.
So kids go to school, then they go directly over to the Boys and Girls Club. It's a voluntary organization, right?
After school, we have 20 sites in Washoe County.
Really?
Truckee Meadows. We got 20 sites.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And a lot of those are with the school district. We have their after-school programs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then after the kids do that, then name it.
Oh.
Basketball. We've got a lot of senior volunteers that come in. Chess. They teach them how to play that.
Oh.
They learn a lot of different handicrafts and skills to do. They can just get involved in all kinds of things.
Yeah.
We've got up to date computers, so they can get on there and play computer games.
Right.
In fact, we've got one. We just bought a bunch of iPads, and there's got a game on there that they play, and they make points on that. And then the thing that they're all aiming at is those points can be turned in to buy merchandise.
Okay.
And they can buy laptop computers.
Really?
They can buy CDs. They can buy games for their Game Boys. They can buy Game Boys and stuff.
And now, is this mostly for low-income type folks, or what?
Any kids. In fact, we've got them from all walks of life in this community. Kids belong to the Boys and Girls Club. Because we've got basketball leagues. We've got a lot of stuff going on. But we do aim, no kids are turned back. If they can't afford to pay, it's pretty amount for money, but if they can't afford to pay that, then we scholarship.
Membership you're talking about?
Yes.
What is the average membership cost? If you can afford it, what would it be?
I think right now we're at $15 a month.
Really?
We're going to $20.
Now, do you use existing facilities like the gyms in schools and things like that? They let you use those facilities for basketball?
We can use those for the after, but both big clubs, both Pennington and Reynolds, have full. This Pennington has. It's big enough. It has 5 basketball courts in the gym.
Wow.
And over at, I think we have 3 at Reynolds. I mean, we've got a lot of this stuff. We've got.
How many members? We've got
photography. Where they can go in and they got their own dark room. They got their own room where they can shoot videos and stuff. We got green boards. We got all kinds of stuff.
Fantastic. Maybe we should join. Maybe we could do a better job.
Over and shoot in the green room.
Listen, we got to take another break. We'll be back with more Old Tales in Nevada, past and present.
Hi there. I'm Hugh Roy Marshall of the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada. I'm proud to announce that our 7-ingot set honoring the V&T Railroad is now finished.
That's right, Roy. These beautiful 999 silver ingots celebrate the engines from the world-famous V&T Railroad and honor Nevada's sesquicentennial. These limited edition treasures can be purchased only at the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada.
Or visit us at marshallmint.com to get yours today.
Get the Charter Spectrum Triple Play. It's more than meets the eye. With over 200 free HD channels available, it's the most HD you can get. Instant access to over 10,000 on-demand movies and shows. Plus the Charter app for live TV that jumps to mobile devices in any room. All that for $29.99 a month. Switch to Charter Spectrum Internet, faster than the speed of WOW. Take off with 60 megs of speed, bandwidth that lets multi-people multitask, stream movies, play games, watch videos, and share vines all at once. No slowdowns. Shazam! For only $29.99 a month. Just call 877-959-1634. Then pick up Charter Spectrum Voice for unlimited local and long-distance calling. And catch this. No drop calls. Stuck in a contract? Charter pays up to $500 to get you out. Charter Spectrum TV, Internet, and Voice, $29.99 a month each. Call 877-959-1634. See for yourself. Call Charter today.
Spring arrives at Boutique Elegante. The fabulous colors of spring, all in denim fabrics, but with accents on color, color, color. Of course, sweaters are a must. The newest color block in soft weaves. Influenced by the rainbow, beautiful little dresses, gaucho sets, the blending of fabrics to create caprice sets. Exquisite fashions for your tropical holiday, a special dinner, or the opera. You'll find all of this and so much more at Boutique Elegante.
All right, we're back here for our last segment of Old Tales of Nevada, past and present, talking with the former district attorney for Washoe County who just retired in January, Dick Gammick. And as we're finding out in our two shows that we've had with Dick, he's a multi-talented guy, great leader, great visionary, innovator, and really brings us pride to have him here in Northern Nevada, not only as the district attorney, but now as a retired guy who's helping out a lot of these local community efforts like the Boys and Girls Club, the Reno Rodeo Association. We were finishing up our last segment with the question about how many members do you have in that Boys and Girls Club right now?
The last figure I saw was 12,000.
12,000
kids throughout the whole community.
Yeah, that's a full-time job just keeping that all organized. Now, do you have paid staff for that or what?
Yeah, there's paid staff, there's volunteers, there's the board of directors. There's a lot of people involved in this. Right now, we're working on the southeast part of Reno. There's a program over there that used to be a charter school.
Okay.
It went broke. Young lady went in and kind of started a neighborhood crash place for the kids, so they had some place to go. There's 30,000 kids over there.
Yeah.
And no place to go, really.
Isn't that amazing?
And then I talked to Mike Worm, our chief professional officer, and talked to some other folks, and we started doing some programs over there from the Boys and Girls Club, so we're helping support that program, but we want to make that another Boys and Girls Club.
That's
just
great.
A little issue.
A little bit of money. Well, you're good about getting money from folks, that's for sure.
We'll work on
but that Boys and Girls Club in Reno, Nevada is not only locally recognized as something important, but there's some awards coming from outside of Reno, right?
Yeah. We're the chamber here is going to award us next month with being the best nonprofit in Washoe County, and then national Boys and Girls Club. Their national convention's coming up in Chicago here pretty quick, and they've got 2 major awards that we're going to pick up.
No
with this
kidding.
club.
Well, congratulations.
We've been real successful, and we're real happy with it. We've not only done that, but we have helped. We helped Yarrington. We were the parent club for them.
Super.
We've helped Fernley. We're the parent club for them, and now we're getting into Winnemucca.
Wow, how about
another
that?
Boys and Girls Club up there and helping them out. So.
Amazing when you do a good job. How everybody wants to be involved. Now, if you're involved with all these different organizations over the years, where does the family come in there, Dick? We never explored that, the family side of life. How's that working out for you? You've been married a long time, right?
Oh, my wife Norma has just been something else.
Yeah.
Met her when I was in flight school in Texas.
Yeah.
We got married right before I went to Vietnam.
Yeah.
We've been married 67 years.
67 years?
No, excuse me, 47 years.
47 years.
One number, that wasn't right. That's old as I am.
You got married when you were 5,
yeah.
I was going to say.
We've been married 47 years.
Yeah.
We have 2 children. The daughter was the oldest one, and she was born in Texas. Then we had a boy born in Oklahoma when I was still in the service.
Okay.
Our daughter now is in San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, no kidding, really? That's where my boy is, too.
And she got her master's out of Weber State over in Utah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then she wound up back in Washington, D.C. She was doing all the strategic planning for the Human Resources Division of the Air Force.
Oh.
And then now she's down in San Antonio. She's got responsibility for a lot of training of people in the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
What
base is she on? Kelly or?
She works. I think she's still working directly for the Pentagon.
Oh, is that right? But
it's
this big military area there for sure.
Big time. Well, her husband just retired as a major out of the Army.
Oh, okay.
And he's medical service corps, so that's an ideal spot for them to be in because he's got all that medical background.
Sure.
And then our son is he's driving a delivery truck, and he's over in Maui. He's been there the last 7
years.
Maui.
Wow, great place to drive a delivery truck. I would do anything, right?
Oh, yeah, he loves it over there.
Just stay away from the lava flow.
2 grandsons and a granddaughter.
Oh, no kidding, great. So it's happy times for the Gammick family, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. It's nice when you get older and you can see your kids grow up and be contributing to the community in one way or another. and be good kids and so on and so forth, right?
Not locked up somewhere. It makes a big
difference. Well, you probably appreciate that more than most.
I can't go without saying Belle. We've got a 6-year-old German wire hair that's my hunting dog. Belle's our kid now. She gets.
Now, what do you go hunting for?
I am primarily a chucker guy.
Are you?
I love hunting chuckers, and I'm sure that they can be put on the screen because I brought a painting in of a chucker.
Yes.
A lot of people say, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
A chucker.
Yeah.
A partridge.
Yeah, it's a little partridge. Yeah, probably a little smaller than a what's Ribero's logo?
They're in between a pheasant and a quail.
Quail. That's what I was trying to do.
They're bigger than a quail and they're smaller than a pheasant.
Yeah, we used to hunt pheasant up in Montana. They had some great places to hunt pheasant. I mean, you couldn't shoot fast enough, and they'd come out from all different directions. It seemed like you would go up to these Hutterite, the Hutterite colonies up there, and they were a religious colony up there.
Okay.
Yeah, clustered. I hate to describe them by somebody else, but they were a religious group, and they had these big, huge ranches, wheat fields and everything. So we'd go up there and we'd bring them a little bottle of whiskey, and they'd let us hunt on their land. We'd have to give them one of the pheasant, before we left too. But boy, there was an abundance of game up there.
Sounds like what used to have as communes.
Yeah, communes. That's what it was. So where do you go hunting for chucker? You can't. Is it close to town, or do you have to go up north somewhere?
The bigger our population goes, the further out you have to go.
Yeah.
We're going to put in another 50,000 people in the next 3 to 5 years here.
I know
what's going on out
there. Double Diamond, DeMonte out there.
Oh no, on out east.
East, yeah. Well, with Tesla and the Switch and all of that, right? Yeah.
So it's going to grow even more. So we hunt northern Washoe County. We hunt Humboldt County. We get out.
Yeah. See, in Montana, we didn't have to travel very far. When I went to hunt, we just go outside the city limits.
Yeah, that's Montana. But not here anymore. It used to be here.
Yeah, it used to be.
Hunt them right up here in the hills.
No kidding. Yeah. Where's your biggest concentration of chuckers? Is it pretty well spread out around? I mean, as you get out in the open, you're going to find them, or what?
No, they love Rocky Mountains.
They do, huh?
And so they're tough hunting. They can outrun a dog, they can outrun a man.
Yeah.
And they love going uphill. And then when they get up there and you go up and get them, they fly off.
Oh, super.
And they talk to you, and they're very smart bird. They've learned
good eating though, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
All white breast.
My barber, he goes out chucker hunting and elk hunting, but I do elk hunting or anything like that. It's quite an investment because you don't usually get a tag anywhere as close to Reno. You're out there in the Rubies where you're originally from, out there in Elko, right? So, but hunting's still pretty good. Fishing's pretty good when we don't have a drought. We can.
The problem with our state is, and it's one of the negative things of it, is almost all the bodies of water up here in the northern end of the state are mercury.
Oh.
And you're sitting there saying, where is the Superfund?
Yeah.
Aren't they cleaning up these waters? I mean, we're talking the future for crying out loud.
Yeah, there's mercury in these waters from the mining operations, huh?
Yeah, I do most of my fishing over in the Sierras.
Oh, okay.
They don't have that issue. But when they start telling me, if you catch fish in this particular lake, we suggest you only eat 4 a year.
Really?
4 a year? Hell, I'm not eating any of them. I mean, come on.
Yeah, we had the same problem up in Montana too. Yeah. Wherever the Anaconda Company was, the streams were just totally polluted.
That's what
you could not eat the fish, which was really sad because they had some beautiful, streams, and you'd want to go there, but you couldn't do it. But things are changing. Environmentalists are here, and they're being a little more careful about things like that. So if they would just keep a balance on things, they'd be probably something good for us, right?
Kind of.
Yeah. So anything for the future? What do you think about the future of Washoe County when you think about the law enforcement agencies? There's been a lot of controversial things happening in the news, and people seem to focus on the negative more than the positive. We always like to focus on the positive. So how do you see things going with the new district attorney and the future of law enforcement here in Nevada?
We've had I'll just call it a pretty good shakeup here in Washoe County this last couple of years. A lot of us guys have been around for a long time, decided it was time to go to other pastures and do other things, and it's brought a lot of the younger people up into the limelight now to take these jobs. I'm extremely optimistic. They've had good training, they've had good experience, they're knowledgeable. with technology today, good grief, man, you do these things right here.
Yeah.
You do just about anything in the world with them. It's
absolutely.
It blows your mind.
Yeah.
And unlike us that have had to learn how to use these things, they grew up with them. They cut their teeth on them.
Yeah.
And so that the technology is all available to them. Funding is an issue. The legislature is fighting over that right now again. In fact, today, the day we're taping this, they're going to go in on is the governor going to get his money for schools?
Oh, yeah, right.
We need to keep up with schools. We need to keep up with education. And in case it hasn't come out yet, I am really zeroed in on our future and our generations and our kids. And by God, as far as every kid deserves a right to be a kid and grow up as a kid.
Right.
Not the stuff that happens to them.
Yeah.
The only thing that I've ever said that we owe people in this country, and that's including our children, is the opportunity in this country. We don't owe them another thing.
Right.
And today, unfortunately, there's a whole generation coming up that thinks they're entitled to everything.
Yeah.
And that's not, you got to work. You get those entitlements, but you work for them.
Right. And I think that's been lost a little bit for sure.
I think it has too.
It's let's take care of Johnny kind of a attitude, and kids don't learn to work. I mean, you and I, we were working when we were pre-teens, weren't
13.
we? Same with me.
Well, I was doing things, but 13's when I started getting paid. That's when I was selling produce.
Yeah, I was cutting lawns with a landscaper at 13.
Then I went to work as a busboy.
Yeah, I slung hamburgers. I did all of that kind of thing, you know.
Now you can't do it because the law says you can't.
Was it 16 now?
I think so.
You can't work till you're 16. Yeah. You can't get paid for a job until you're 16 legally. Why is that?
That's because Big Brother and government thinks that they need to run everything we do in our lives.
Yeah.
1. 2, the second thing is, hey, life has got risks, and we're all going to die unless you figured out something no one else has.
That's right.
And you got risks in life, but we seem to be really hung up in this country now with a risk-free life.
At least they try to be.
Yeah.
You know, Dick, we have to break. We have to actually close the show.
Cool.
We could probably go another hour with you.
But I'm extremely optimistic on the future, and I think we're just going to come out really great.
Well, thanks for coming back with us for a second show and talking about all these different things that you were very involved with as an innovator for law enforcement and social activities here in Northern Nevada. You truly do bring us pride as Nevadans to have you in public office and now in the private life. And we look forward to you being around for a long time and bringing us new ideas as you go along. So thanks for being with us today.
Thanks,
want to thank the audience for being with us as well. We want to invite you back for another show next week on Old Tales of Nevada, past and present. In the meantime, have a great Nevada day.
Hi there, I'm Hugh Roy Marshall of the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada. I'm proud to announce that our 7-ingot set honoring the V&T Railroad is now finished.
That's right, Roy. These beautiful 999 silver ingots celebrate the engines from the world-famous V&T Railroad and honor Nevada's sesquicentennial. These limited edition treasures can be purchased only at the Marshall Mint in Virginia City, Nevada.
Or visit us at marshallmint.com to get yours today.